Imagine someone walks up to you in a shop and says, "I'm so glad they won't let me buy this cheaper down road, because if they did, prices everywhere would skyrocket." You'd check 'em for head injury. And yet, that's exactly what happened in me comment section. Alright, you lot. Apologies for any background noise. I'll try to cut out what I can, but it's too hot to be trying to record in an enclosed space. I'd record in my freezer if I had space, but here we are. Anyways, I hope you're ready for this weapons-grade twonkery, because under my Steam lawsuit video, a commenter called 2D3 decided to roll up and go to war for Valve's honour. This twonk is unpaid, unrequested, and catastrophically uninformed. The journey this man took across about 12 comments is one of the most spectacular self-destructions I've ever witnessed on my channel. I didn't include him in the last Twonk Chronicles, because this level of stupidity deserves its own recognition. It started when I corrected another commenter, and 2D3 jumps in with unpaid PR when guys advocating for companies that have shown clearly they care more for profit than gamers and games themselves. Now, video, sourced entirely from court filings, leaked depositions, and discovery emails from Valve's own employees, is apparently me advocating for predatory AAA corporations. Anyone who's been here long enough knows my views are to the contrary. But he's out here defending a private corporation's right to control market pricing for free and calling everyone else shills. Seriously, you couldn't write this shit. He called antitrust lawsuits backed by court evidence nitpicking small insignificant things, and called my entire video a hot piece and a small fry attempt to sway people to your thinking. Was that a compliment? My video's a hot piece. Oh, 2D. Do behave. Little tease. Listen, mate, swaying were done by courts based on those lawsuits reaching class action status. And sure, I am just a small channel compared to many out there, but I got your attention, didn't I? If what I said in that video is just an opinion, legal systems of 3 countries must be having a real bad day. But next it follows up with, "I'm learned enough to see when someone's being disingenuous." I'm sorry, learned enough? That part had me in stitches, because grammar alone thus far said otherwise, and what followed made it worse. He claimed lawsuits were brought to bear by companies that seek to dismantle standing Steam as accrued. US case were filed by Wolfire Games, an indie developer whose founder also founded Humble Bundle. Their submission is based on personal experience that as many as 32,000 developers and publishers are tied to, but not all of them are actively pushing support. They just didn't top tart and left it to run its course. UK case were filed by Vicky Shotwell, a digital rights campaigner on behalf of 14 million consumers. Now, yeah, she has ties to that bunch of nannies who forced Steam to remove majority of certain adult games. They were on a crusade to protect kids, and I absolutely don't agree we either went about it. It's same bollocks as Online Safety Act, but actions of that issue have nothing to do with this lawsuit. Besides, all she gains from this is you having cheaper options, should you want to choose them. Dutch case were filed by CCC, a non-profit consumer organisation who find Valve in violation of prohibition on cartels and abuse of dominant position, meaning anti-competitive and anti-consumer practices. Not one of them's Epic, Microsoft, or some corporate rival with an agenda. Yeah, Tim Sweeney's emails are being used as evidence in proceedings, but he's nothing to do with any of them. But this learned individual couldn't be asked to check any of that, because checking would mean his argument collapses. And when he said, "You're banking on people being too stupid to truly look into things and just blindly follow whatever drivel's fed to them," now that made me laugh, because everything in video sourced from public information, all linked in description, so it's verifiable. I don't rely on anyone taking my word for it. I tell you about it and provide you with sources to make your own mind up. But he didn't look into out and blindly followed his own tribal narrative, and drivel Valve sold him. Irony's so thick you could spread it on fucking toast. But his grave goes deeper. Another commenter, Soypog in 1989 brought up Humble Bundle's involvement in the case, and how Valve blocked Ubisoft from offering customers a better deal on their own platform. Duty Free responds with, "Save $10 and outfund a slop CEO has driven his company nearly destitute by ignoring wants of fans who built said company. So now consumer choice don't matter because he don't like other companies' boss." That's not an argument, mate. It's a full-on tantrum that completely ignores the point, which is that you, consumer, should have right to choose where you spend your money and at what price. And he completely ignored part where Soypog has said, "I can't believe I'm about to say this," meaning they're not defending Ubisoft, and I'll say it here. I'm not gonna defend Guillemot. Anyone who's been around me channel long enough knows my thoughts on Ubisoft. I've boycotted that company so hard I refuse to even play games I already have from them. But this issue ain't about what's going on with them. It's about what Valve's doing. No, we don't care if Ubisoft offered their games cheaper on Ubisoft Connect. We still won't buy them. But they should be allowed to choose whatever price they want. It's not up to Valve to dictate that. He went on to say, "If Steam were as bad as any other company, people would honestly care about that. But we don't, because we're willing to pay for quality." Wait, do you believe Steam's prices mean you're getting a better quality game than if you bought the same game from elsewhere? And then came crowning moment to this twonk. He said, and I really need you to sit down for this one, "Locking game prices to prevent overall market from going crazy seems more like a benefit than a negative to consumers." Yep, he is thanking Valve for not allowing him to pay less. And, for some reason, thinks this clause prevents game prices from being higher. Let that sink in. I mean, really sink in. Listen, twonk, price parity clause doesn't stop companies from raising prices. Rockstar just shoved GTA 6 out door for 90 quid, locking basic features behind higher paywall and setting a precedent for higher pricing of AAA games. And physical editions won't have a disc, just a download code in a box. Talk about getting fucking ripped off. That MFN clause only stops other competing stores from undercutting Steam. It's a floor, not a ceiling. This man thinks it's a fucking safety net. I could only answer that and with a few emojis that basically says it all. I was laughing so hard I tore my hernia, and my son thought I'd gone mad. But Soypogger nailed it perfectly. Why would games get more expensive if stores are offering them cheaper? You just said both of those things would occur at the same time, but it don't make sense. And this bit is what I thought a bit killshot. It's not for Valve, a corporation, to decide if your rates are meaningful or not, and disregard them if they think they're unimportant. At this point, I figured he'd exhausted every wrong tech available to him and moved on. But he wasn't done. He came back with what could be described as either greatest redemption arc ever attempted or fastest relapse into twonkery I've ever seen. Because he said this: "I did more research into subject matter because it seems I misunderstood what were being said here." And then, "So what exactly is Steam doing that's wrong again? As it seems I'm quite ignorant here." I read that and thought, ignorant don't begin to cover it, mate. But hold on a second. Is this man actually having a moment of self-awareness? Has Penny finally fucking dropped? Is he about to become a functioning member of society? I responded with a calm, clear explanation of what price parity clause actually does. Our Steam keys are still part of the ecosystem, and why competing storefront distinction matters. Gave him facts. Soypogger did the same, pointing him towards Gerber's emails and telling him exactly where to find evidence. Then it happened. He came back claiming he'd read every news article currently available on it, said he couldn't find emails, even though every article quoted them, and pointed to Bloomberg, who had more on case. But his emails that suggest part is what caught my eye. I've seen a lot of this around in public space where people call out where articles and people say alleged and suggest and ask if anyone knows what that actually means. Well, here's a little edumacation for you. Journalists use those terms because until the court delivers a verdict, stating something as established fact opens them to defamation claims. It means this has been claimed in legal proceedings and supported by evidence, but a judge or jury ain't issued a final ruling yet. It don't mean this probably didn't happen, or evidence is weak. Evidence is evidence. Those emails exist. Depositions are on record. It's just, as of now, there's no verdict. So no one's talking about them as definitive yet. I'm firm on my stance of how I personally feel towards evidence. But not once in that video did I state them as fact. I am on side at fence that's supporting plaintiffs, and I will continue to word what I say in that direction. And when he said, I can, however, find games being sold at different prices on other sites currently, which would suggest that's not true. And I knew that were coming, because it's so ignorant, it's mind-numbing. You can absolutely find games cheaper elsewhere, including some reputable sources like McGaming, Fanatical, and Humble Bundle. They do offer Steam keys at a cheaper price. You also have grey market resellers like G2A and Ebba and Kingwin selling them cheaper. But you can often find some of those sales being scams. And then there's places like Etsy selling what's known as pre-installed games, which are pirated copies, and their prices are dirt cheap. So yeah, there are places selling games cheaper. But did you notice salt about those stores? They're selling you Steam keys, which keeps you in that ecosystem. I'll have more on that subject in another video. They're not competing platforms. They're an extension at Steam platform. Or, in case of Etsy, the pirated games which are not only illegal, but also most likely have serious malware mining crypto from your GPU while you play. But let's not have that argument on this video, because I have varying opinions on that matter too. And then absolute cherry on top of this 2G1C Fudge Sundae. He couldn't find policy on Valve's website, and since the deny exists, he concluded it don't exist. He actually used accused parties' denial as proof for innocence. Mate, that's like saying, well, Jimmy Savile said he didn't do it, so he didn't do it. He said we were hyping up to rallying banners or idiot YouTubers. This is a man who 20 minutes earlier admitted he were quite ignorant and now calling people who did actual research idiots. So I gave him some proper sources. TechSpot, Games Radar, This Week in Video Games, original complaint on ClassAction.org, all publicly available, all free, all containing verbatim quotes from emails he claimed didn't exist. So he poggered him with, they don't list it as policy because it's illegal. So why are you pointing to the fact they don't have it listed? Now, this next part is where magic happens, folks. 2D3 found emails. They were going through court docket, but it were long dribble as a vast majority in legal proceedings and correspondence. Mate, that is evidence you've been looking for. It's a court case. What did you expect to find in the recipe for fucking banana bread? So he read them, and his response was, and I need you to really take this in, I did find emails, and darn how terrible of them to ask them to sell games for the same price across markets to, and I quote, treat our customers fairly. He found evidence, read anti-competitive enforcement emails, with Valve threatening to delist games, strong-arming publishers, an employee joke about getting parity clause tattooed on his back, and his takeaway was how terrible of them to treat customers fairly. He told us to GTFO out of here. Mate, get fuck out of here. Who do you think you are? Mickey fucking Flanagan.
I can't come out.
He ended that comment with, either you guys are shills or you truly don't understand what you're arguing against. This man admitted his own ignorance, apparently couldn't find publicly available court documents, used Valve's own denial as proof for innocence, read evidence with his own eyes, and decided it proved him right. Mate, you're not just ignorant anymore. And I don't have words to describe how you're not as learned as you think. At that point, I gave up. Not on fate, on him. Much like his parents did. I gave him full docket on court listener, court orders on Just Here. And I told him, if you can't be bothered to read them properly, as many others have, including myself, then you're just plain ignorant to truth because it don't fit your worldview. And that this is the last I'd say on it, because I have better things to do than run in circles for twonks. See, that's what tribalism looks like in real time. Someone starts from a position of ignorance, gets corrected, they shift goalposts, attacks Suicide Messenger, and then end up arguing against their own basic consumer rights while calling everyone else stupid. And worst part is, they believe it. They honest to goodness genuinely believe it. So, 2D3, it is with great honour and zero respect I present you with Stockholm Syndrome Award for Outstanding Achievement in Corporate Simping. You argued against your own wallet, cut court evidence drivel, and thanked a corporation for removing your right to choose. That's a level of brand loyalty so severe it should be classified as a medical condition. You deserve your place in Twonk Caller infamy, and I suggest you hand those learned credentials back to who they truly belong to, because they sure as hell don't belong to you, mate. If you like this video, YouTube says you'll like this and next, so go check that out, and I'll see you there, you magnificent